Did your beeps peak?
Peak?
Did your beeps peak?
Are you saying peak, or are you asking me to speak?
Are you peak?
Am I what? Don't kink shame.
Welcome to 0 Hit Points, everybody. It's May 28th. I'm Ryan Miller. And do you know what this is, Matt Amber?
I don't know if that's my introduction or if you have a question.
Yes.
Okay, good.
This here is absolute heaven.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm very
so
uncomfortable
confused right now.
I'm very uncomfortable.
What?
This
I'm sorry. That was not my intention.
wasn't it?
Okay, this is 0 Hit Points. We talk about video games. Number 1.
Okay, good. Get that out of the way. Just real fast.
Number 2, I'm going to number things again this week.
Oh, good.
It's kind of my thing.
Well, and it helps me keep track. Because then I can go back to, but remember when you said number 2?
Number 3, May 28th, number 3. But number 2, I am fresh off a full just 40-hour work week, which is new to me.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations. Now, how does that feel?
Thank you. It feels... Wait, who's listening? Do I have to do the thing where these thoughts are my own now?
I mean, I've never done that, but I also stray as far away from talking about my job as possible.
Yeah, I've never had an own thought in my life, so why begin now, I guess.
And when you sign the contract, they own your thoughts, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought I felt something.
Yeah. I thought I felt something once, too.
But it's great. Honestly, it's good for all sorts of reasons. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have taken the job. But let me tell you what nobody told me. It's pretty exhausting working for 40 hours a week. Did you hear?
Yes, I have heard about this. Now it'll be fun. Wait until it's the 60, 80-hour weeks. Those are when things get really entertaining.
Yeah. Is that when do those start?
The best part about that is it could happen at any time. It's
you never know. Nobody will tell you.
For me, it could be, we're doing a project and a whole bunch of things are being done at the same time. Oh, but things broke. That could be it. For you, it could be, hey, guess what? We need this done in
now
2 days, and it has to look as good in terms of CGI that you don't know how to do, but it's got to look at least as good as the original Transformers.
Right.
So...
Yeah. Wait, are we talking story or
no? Just visually.
Explosions.
Yeah, just visually.
Well, then you're out of luck.
You're like, story, I'm on. Explosions.
I can do. I've already done. We just did a better story. In fact, just transcript everything we've just said already.
Yeah, and then just
makes more sense.
And then just put a transformer behind us.
Yes, transcript former is the name of the next movie. Actually,
that makes sense. It's about them going to college.
It might as well be. What was the... Oh, no. The Bumblebee was the last one, right?
I hope so.
No. That was the last one that came out. Not the last one ever.
Oh, no. I hope so. Both.
Okay,
things.
Gotcha. No, it's fine. It's this here to go back to explain it all now. Bring it all back around.
Yeah, let's get there. It's
just absolute heaven. I don't have to work, and I don't have to work when I don't have to work is the weird thing. So,
yeah, sure.
It's crazy.
You get to close it down at the end of your day.
I do. Yeah, I got an email. I tried to get off. I'm basically off at 4:30. I got an email at like 4:32. Haven't even looked at it.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
Don't care.
Always never do extra.
Not on the clock.
You know what? That's how I live. It never works that way.
On the 0 hit point clock though.
Are we doing a lightning thing?
No. Do you have? I have one game on this list.
Oh.
You have not added to it unless I need to refresh.
Oh, no, I have not added to it, but I do have a completely other game to discuss.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
This is from left field, everybody. What video game do you want to talk about?
So, I have to preface this a little bit. As you are aware, I enjoy wrestling. I enjoy the professional aspect of seeing men greased up and just rubbing each other and throwing each other off the top rope. I can't believe it. He's off the cage. He went off the cage. So there's this channel on YouTube that's run by Xavier Woods, who's one of the wrestlers in WWE, called Up, Up, Down, Down. They're fairly well known.
The wrestler is called Up, Up, Down, Down?
No, Xavier Woods is his name. The YouTube channel is called Up, Up, Down, Down.
Gotcha. I thought that was his stage name for a second, which
might work, or I might hate it.
Yeah, kind of, maybe, actually, yeah.
That is because he's in a trio, and when he's in the tag team, when he's actually like in the ring, they have one of their finishing maneuvers is actually called Up, Up, Down, Down.
All right. Hey, we're halfway there.
We're figuring it all out.
I want to look at this part of wrestling now.
Oh, they're super fun. They throw pancakes when they come down, and they've got like.
Oh wait, no, I did.
You've seen them.
That's
yeah.
Don't let me get his name.
All right.
Because I watched WrestleMania for the first time, and I've heard his name several more times, and his victory was awesome, and everybody loved it.
Yeah, it was fun,
and it was momentous. Crap.
It begins with a crap sound. No, I mean that's not right, but. Kofi Kingston.
Yes. Dang it. Yeah.
Yes, okay. he and Kofi and Big E. In any case, there is this show that is on Up, Up, Down, Down that is headed up by this guy named Cesaro. Cesaro is, I think the dude is just hilarious. He's actually the guy I have on my t-shirt that says Thwith Thyborg. He's the one that
right.
He has no teeth because he smashed his face into the post. During a match.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then he took that picture, and it's the best thing in the world. So because he's traveling so much, he plays this game Clash Royale, and it's just a total mobile game. But he has a show called Clash with Cesaro, and it's essentially I haven't dug into it too much, and I can already tell that there's going to be a point where money is going to be good. You probably want to, but I've read enough guides now that are like, you don't have to. It's just going to take a little bit longer to do stuff. But like, are you familiar with this? Have you ever looked at it?
Okay, you got me. We've even had a conversation about this already. I've heard so much about it, and we talked about it. No, I've never looked at it.
So the game is, I actually think this is kind of cool because it's a deck builder type thing where you're collecting cards of different types, but then you have like, there's a kind of like, just because it's a top down game, there's a top and where the enemy's castle tower is, whatever, and then you have yours on the bottom, and you've got a couple of different lanes, and there are a couple of different cards you can put in various spots. And so it becomes a back and forth, and it's not turn-based. It's all real time. So you have to counter what they're doing and try to, like, if they've got a whole bunch of archers or whatever, you want to get something that's going to stop the arrows from hitting you. If they're going to send across, brutes, what have you, you want to get guys that are going to, if you think about it like Clash of Heroes without the turn-based thing or anything like that, it's that.
I have often thought about things that aren't anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think I have some idea. Okay.
It's like I said, I haven't played a ton of it. I played it for about 45 minutes, but I know I've played it enough to see why people can get really into it, because that I can see that being a really fun game. So I'm looking forward to keeping it going.
Among the things I have heard of it, besides the microtransactions, is that it's a fairly solid game, like very well put together. It's usually, in fact, that's how I hear about it, is that, man, this game is so good. Too bad it's got all this other stuff.
Right.
Basically.
And I started, looking around, and the subreddit is super active. They, like, their community manager they got a new community manager a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I mean, they seem to be like, the game seems to be legit. And I mean, I think you're always going to run into anytime it's mobile, the microtransaction situation. Right. But I also, the more I consider things like that, I kind of sometimes wonder, I go, you know what? The game was free. If I spend $3 on whatever the currency is so I can go get that stupid thing, big deal. I gave them $3. when it turns into $50, that's when it becomes an issue, you know?
Even, I mean, I agree with you. It's when that has no end for me, actually. If they have a thing where, why not spend $3? In fact, I often do this. I've started even giving or hitting the donate button on some of this freeware that I've been using for years and years now. I'm like,
I bet you donated to WinZip, you idiot.
They make a quality product. And
why aren't you using 7-Zip?
Before.
Don't touch WinZip ever again. 7-Zip is the way. Anyways.
But if it's something that's like, here's this money and now you have more game and you can keep going. But if it's an ongoing thing, and I've heard this is what it is, like you get to the point, because you're playing against real people, right?
Right.
You get to the point where you just don't stand a chance against the people that are spending more money than you are at the game.
I guess, so part of that I keep reading is that's not necessarily true. I'm sure it is to a degree, but I have actually heard that the way matchmaking kind of happens is you don't get stomped like that as much as you could in other games, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what I've assumed, is that it wasn't all the time. Like you don't just run up against those people, but they sprinkle enough in there that's the impetus to spend more money yourself so that you can compete or get up to those guys that you do run into every now and then.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which again, I don't necessarily like that. Whatever. That's the thing. That's what that game is. I'm not going to be like, hey, it should not be this game. But that game is not for me.
No, and I have no idea if the game is going to stick or not, and I'm not going to spend any money on it until I have an idea of this would stick. But I also have not ever really spent money money
on a game. Yeah, no, I got
you.
No,
I don't buy them ever. I just wait for somebody to send them to me. Like I don't get comp copies. People are just like, hey, I heard you wanted a video game, so they sent it to me. I'm like, cool.
Amazing. But I'm curious because it's a show. The Up Up Down Down is a show about this game?
Up Up Down Down is like the name of their channel. Like think about it like Fox or HBO.
Oh, and then the show is Clash with Friends.
And then Clash with Cesaro. And they've got a bunch of stuff. Like he has an ongoing game with Tyler Breeze. It's not an actual so they're playing SmackDown versus Raw like 2014 or something, some older game that has a GM mode. And so they're sitting there and they're just playing GM mode. So they don't wrestle. There's no like video game interaction other than them setting their rosters and then having their rosters like simulated on just a screen. Like again, you don't see any of the wrestling. It's just the win, the loss, the win, the loss. And these two guys are so funny because they have like they pull out pads of paper and they're writing down. They're like, okay, here's my draft order. Here's what I want. And then they go back and forth and they're like, okay. So then they've got to adjust because one of them drafted somebody. It's just ridiculous.
Okay. Well, that answers my question still. Is I was wondering what a show about that game Clash would be. But hearing you explain that, sounds to me like they're entertaining guys. It's probably barely about that game. Mostly.
Well, no, Clash with Cesaro is pretty funny because he's kind of usually by himself. Every once in a while, somebody will come in and screw with him. But it's like there's
so
two.
Is he just playing the game?
Yeah, there's two cameras set up where it's like one for him, and then he's got his iPad connected so you can see what he's doing. And he's good at the game. That's the part of the thing is that he's not. He's actually
one of those.
He's really good at the game. So he also will talk about what he's doing, and he's like, "Oh man, this change was stupid. I really wish I hadn't done that. Oh, you're an idiot." And then he's actually there was one episode where he found out he was playing against another wrestler. Like somebody else, another WWE person, and then if I remember correctly, he went and mocked him after he wiped the floor.
Amazing.
But
that's awesome.
But the other thing they do have, and it's the last thing I'll mention about Up Up Down Down because it's pretty irrelevant, is a bunch of them love role playing, and so they actually have like a D&D show.
Oh, nice.
It's pretty cool. There are, I think the cool thing about Up Up Down Down is like there's a guy, AJ Styles has a show called Retro Styles because he loves old games and old systems. So he goes out and whenever they're in a new town, he goes and finds the old video game shops and so the camera follows him around doing that. It's just all sorts of like video game stuff with every like people that you would not necessarily expect. To be into video games. And then one of the more fun things, if you ever wanted to, and this is for anybody that wanted to kind of like learn who some of these people really are. Xavier Woods does a show where he basically interviews them. They get to pick like any game they want on any system, and oftentimes it's a Super Nintendo game, and they just play the game and talk about how they got into wrestling or their lives or whatever. It's really freaking cool.
That's nice. That's cool. The intersection of games and wrestling, I feel like, has, I don't want to say reached a fever pitch, because I feel like it's not that fevered, but it's just been growing, and it's to this. I mean, I'd be lying if I say that wasn't one of the reasons I'm getting more into it. I've always liked wrestling. I'm a kid from the 80s, so I have to.
Right.
But it's become a lot easier, let's put it that way.
Sure.
To indulge myself. So
sure.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's super fun. If you get, you have time, check it out. It's a fun channel. They've got all sorts of different, like game related shows on there. It's fun.
Hey, I've got to put on something in the background while I work at Real Job.
That's true. This is unrelated, and you can totally cut this out. I just think this is really funny to tell you.
Okay, go.
And go. There are these two women that usually wrestle together. They're kind of a tag team, but one of them is one of them's kind of more of a singles competitor. And they're like, so this one blonde chick named Mandy Rose, she is, very pretty, super blonde hair. She's like a really, like very toned woman. And then her friend, and I keep wanting to say it's not Shayna Baszler, it's Sonya Deville. She was an MMA fighter, so she's super lean, super buff, and they're really funny. They have a show where they go around to when they're traveling to where they go to donut shops and try donuts.
I did not see that coming, but I'm into it.
And that's it. They just review donuts.
That's so good. I love the internet.
It's funny.
The internet is funny.
And cut back in.
Yep, and back in. Okay, yeah, wow. That's whatever you were talking about before what you were just last talking about. Awesome.
Cool, right? Hey, what video games have you played this week?
I'm going to take a left turn too. This is great. I love our video game show. I've been deep into... Okay, so part of the reason I'm taking a left turn is because I've just played more Red Dead. And when I say just played more Red Dead, I have rolled credits on it. We talked about that. We're going to talk about it. We'll do who knows, whatever, when you finish. But
if I ever do.
I've also been working, like I mentioned, and playing very little. I think I touched a game once or twice that wasn't on my phone. And we won't talk about Konami Pixel Puzzle Collection.
God.
But it was Red Dead, and I'm just playing in-game stuff. And again, we'll talk about it later. So the thing I do want to talk about is the game I played most, in fact. It's not a video game. It's a board game. A tabletop, as they say.
Okay. All right. I'm following. So you put the game on the tabletop, and then where are the controllers?
You're very good. And credit where credit's due. I heard about this game from a Kotaku article. Luke Plunkett. Feel like I could have guessed that one.
The Plunkinator. Captain. He's the plunker. Plunkett plunders.
Yes. But he did a piece on Tokaido. Have you heard of this?
I have never heard of anything you've ever spoken about. Okay. I feel like.
And it was about the video game, but as I read his article, I realized that it was based on this board game. So I looked up the board game first because I like to go, if I'm gonna work my way up or down, depending on your opinion.
Yeah, no.
And the game itself looked pretty cool, and my daughter especially is to the point where we can play pretty much any game. So got a 3-player game at any moment ready to happen.
I'm coming to your house, and we're gonna play Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Nice. Let's do it. That requires 4 people, I assume.
Minimum.
All right.
And it's difficult.
She'll love it. She's already to the point where I'm having a hard time beating her all the time. That's where we're at.
Betrayal at House on the Hill. I'll let you finish what you're talking about, but you've clearly never played this, and I will explain why she will probably not like it.
Okay. All right.
Or maybe she will.
I'm liking it more and more, though, hearing you explain it. Tokaido, the board game, bought it, got it, is, I was going to say one of, but probably the most beautiful board game I've ever played.
Oh, cool. Okay.
From design to construction. I mean, okay, construction, you're still dealing with a lot of cardboard. I did buy the deluxe packs, which I get some metal coins and some actual figurines that I can even paint if I want to. So it'll look even better then. But even regardless, just it's all I don't know what this stuff is called. My wife used to work at Barnes & Noble, and the inter-office term for the paperbacks with quality covers, you know, if you ever go into a bookstore, like there's paperbacks with like the gloss, like normal, whatever.
Yeah. They've got like dust covers.
And then no, not dust covers. They're just like higher quality paper, like maybe matte or thicker. You know, they're still paperbacks, but anyways, they're called QPs in common Barnes & Noble parlance.
Well, all right.
So we call everything with that stuff QP. This game's very QP, right? It's just all matte finished. It's all just high. It's not cheapo materials, right? They're not. Well, there probably are mass producing this, but it's just a beautiful game. From
each one of these is handmade by one person.
Probably not that much, but
there's just like one dude going, "I hate my job."
Tokaido this. No,
all I see is Tokaido.
It's just so the design, like all of the artwork, it's just really, really gorgeous.
So what is it? What do you do? What is the game?
Named after the road in Japan, which I should have looked up more. I know I had heard of it. I'm very interested in the history of it now, but it's based on taking a trip on this road, which I feel like is a common pilgrimage, has been. I get the feeling, like I said, this is somebody somewhere knows all of this.
Well, sure.
On the internet.
You're invested in the game, and the history will come later because
I haven't had a lot of time. Like I said,
no,
working.
You were playing it,
but it's about the journey so much. You are accruing points, so there is you can beat somebody, you can accrue more points than somebody else at the game. But there's 4 inns along the path. You have to stop at the inns, but other than that, you can choose to go to any space you want down the road. So you can skip all the way to the end if you want. You obviously don't want to because you were accruing experiences along the way, and not just experience points. But you get, there's a souvenir space where you fan out some souvenirs and you buy some souvenirs. There's a bath space where you just take a bath in a hot spring, you get some points. There's a encounter space, and they're basically like chance cards. That's where you'll encounter a person that does a certain thing. Oh, and you play as a certain character with different abilities.
I swear right now you're telling me this is the board game version of Second Life.
You know what? It's about the journey. Like I said, it's about life. It's not so adversarial that you're trying to hurt somebody else's progress. You can pay attention to what someone else is doing. There's also panorama spaces where, depending on how many you land, you get one piece of the puzzle, and if you complete the puzzle, you get a bonus. So if you're seeing somebody's doing that, you can try and maybe take up their space, so that in a 3-person game you can't land on the same space. So you could do some of that if you wanted, but it doesn't really reward you for that. It's more about you yourself trying to have the most experiences, try the most foods. You eat food at the inn on the journey. It's super cool.
This is a game where like the way what you're describing sounds super interesting, but I also feel like it's one of those things that you have to actually experience for it to kind of make sense.
If you are not bought in, like I obviously am, like if you don't appreciate just the outright beauty of this game, this could be boring. I'm not above that. Yeah, like absolutely. Like if you're just sitting there, so far it's been a hit with the wife and the kid. So
cool.
We're 3 for 3 over here. But yeah, if I would imagine, you know, I don't know how this is going to play if we have a dinner party and we're like, hey, let's play this thing. And it's, you know, if you're not interested in the panoramas you're completing, if you're not interested in the different food you're trying, you know, like looking at the name of the food instead of just placing it down next to you because that's 3 points. You know, if you're not into that, yeah, I don't think this game has as much to offer, but I am.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So
I'll pick up the digital version. We'll probably talk about that at some point.
Before we, you know, if you get the digital version, let me know how that is, and that's something we can play online together. Maybe I'll try. I might try that out. Before we go too far, I want to actually mention Betrayal at House on the Hill because I love this game.
Yeah, explain to me what's
it
up.
is kind of a nightmare game to play. So. Okay. It's a game where you have a board and you've got it's a house essentially. Yeah. And you're different people and you collect weapons and stuff and all that. And then there comes a point where this thing called the haunt happens and you find out that somebody at the table was a betrayer. And I don't, and so the betrayer is given a book. And the survivors are given a different book. So the betrayer goes and reads whichever, like, and the books are like 50, 60 some pages long or whatever. So you go to the page for the haunt that you're doing that you get caught in, because the haunt is randomized. You get that, the survivors get their version, and then you kind of all have to figure out, okay, as survivors, are we going to work together? Are we going to try what are we going to do? And then the person doing the haunt is obviously trying to kill the survivors.
Are there different versions of this game? This is sounding very familiar, and I want to say that I might have played it with
I'm sure there are other types of it. Yeah, Betrayal at House on the Hill is the one that was the first one that I played like that.
I got it. Okay, I'm gonna call my brother-in-law here. I'm pretty sure he brought some version. It wasn't Betrayal. I feel like I would have remembered the name, but heck, we probably even talked about it on the show, whatever it was that I played.
No, it's cool. It was fun though. It's a fun game. It is.
I'm down. Let's do it. Let's. When's your flight?
Soon. Oh, also, I did play another game, but it's not a video game. It was also, I didn't think we could talk about.
No, no holds barred now.
Never in my life have I played Croquet, but we played Croquet the other day.
That should definitely enter the discussion. It's maybe my favorite game growing up. My grandparents had a Croquet set, and it was all I wanted to play.
I had a lot of fun with that. That was very enjoyable to play.
Did you do any, so at one point in college, I bought my own set and we looked up all the names of things. Did you do a Roque Croquet at any point?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I believe, I have to relook it up now. I believe it's when you hit another person's ball, so you yourself get another turn, right?
Right.
And then you put your foot on your ball and use it to hit the other player's ball as far away as possible.
Yeah, we did that.
I believe that's a Roque Croquet.
Okay, so here's the funny thing. So the first time I did it, so Beth hits my ball out, and then later on I get my chance, and I'm like, and it's right at the end, like she's right at the post or whatever, like she's just got to get through the last two wickets, and I caught her like right at the thing, and I put my foot on it. I'm like, okay, my foot's a little too wide for the ball. Like, okay, so I've got my tippy toe on it. And I go to hit it, and I basically just shot my ball. Like, her ball moved, but my ball went sailing the other direction.
Didn't see that coming. I thought you were going to say you hit the sole of your shoe and nothing happened. That's the most popular thing, I feel like.
No.
That has to have a name.
No, I definitely biffed it. I did have one really good shot, though, where the ball was at an angle, and I had, like, the wicket. This is a visual medium. The wicket was, like, here, and then the other one
Picture a sticky wicket, everybody.
Sticky wicket. There's the one in the middle, and then there's one, like, way off to the right-hand side, and the ball was at such an angle that I actually got it through both of them. It's pretty
very nice.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I've got to go buy a set now. I don't think my daughter's ever played Croquet.
I had never played it.
Oh my gosh, this is huge.
The excitement levels now. You just got to remember to keep the Croquet mallet away from Gray.
Maybe. Number one, I don't think that's going to happen. Now I'm just super conscious every time I start numbering something. Number two, I'm going to stop talking. Hey. All right. We haven't done this show for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Games. Were you finished, sir?
I've never been more done.
Okay. So a number of news items have happened. I don't know how much you want to dip into any of these, really. I figured we would have the time, so I put probably more than I should have on this list.
Sure.
But first and foremost, we have an update. We did somehow, I feel like, even though we weren't planning to, talk about the walkout at Riot Games. There's a whole kerfuffle, nay, a clusterfuffle.
Well done.
Because they suck and people are suing them for it, and they are forcing their employees who signed these contracts into arbitration alone so that they can kind of, divide and conquer, honestly. Mm-hmm. And they had a walkout in protest. Well, the update is that Riot Games is not going to do anything differently. So they are sticking to their legal guns. They have some actual quote. Do I need to read this?
Probably
Ultimately,
not.
Given the complexities of ongoing litigation, we will not change our employee agreements while in active litigation. We know not everyone agrees with this decision, but we also know everyone does want, I like how they're saying everyone instead of rioters now. Interesting. Does want Riot to continue to improve, to remain committed to having a firm answer around extending there it is, to all rioters when active litigation concludes. Anywho, that's what's happening over there.
They will keep litigation going forever, so they don't have to change anything.
Good job, everybody.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Ah, she's the best. She is the best.
Yeah, she was cool.
What's her real name?
Whoopi
No, it's not.
Goldberg.
I've always found this fascinating. Whoopi Goldberg's real name.
Remember Jumpin' Jack Flash?
Do I remember it? Is Karen Elaine Johnson.
Sure. That is very disappointing.
Yeah, great. So the other thing I had noted here is that Valve released the top selling games of April, just April. Is this interesting to you at all? Do you want to know what those are?
Sure, why not? Because why? I don't know. Is there something interesting in there?
I mean, most of them I haven't heard of because I'm not a huge PC gaming dude, and there's no order to them either, so I couldn't tell you which one sold better than another. I can tell you that the few that I have heard of are Totally Accurate Battle Simulator.
Is I got a question for you. Is Anthem on there?
Anthem is not on here.
Okay, I was curious because that game now they have gone over a month without tweeting anything. Nothing.
Really? Super.
There has been no communication from BioWare to the community in any way. I mean,
that sucks for everybody involved. Like, I'm sorry, that's a bummer. You know, I read that whole piece that was it Kotaku did on the development of that game. It sounds like a horrible place to be, and the way that all turned out, that stinks. I can't say I didn't see it coming.
No,
and I don't say that often.
Man, just so much there that just the potential, and that game is going to be dead sooner than later. The thing is,
the company might be just radically different sooner or later. I don't want to say dead, but
I don't know that game ever can make a comeback. Like, not now. I don't think that game had the install base that something like Destiny did at the beginning. And I think that further along, that install base broke down because at least Bungie was talking to the community, right? Like, there was communication on Reddit.
Yeah, they were talking. But Destiny don't even like.
No, it's the worst. Totally the worst ever.
No, it's compared to Anthem, it's the best.
Oh yeah, no, it's
the shooting in Destiny was always without question to me.
Oh yeah,
like, that game plays wonderfully.
Yeah, it just sucks. That's all. It's just stupid and bad.
And we do disagree on some of this.
Yeah, no.
But no,
wrong.
Anthem, we played that and we were like, okay, this is a beta, but this is out in a month or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And apparently it was.
The flying was the only fun thing that was there.
And even that felt hamstrung in just really weird ways.
Well, the flying thing definitely was. I think the hindrance there was that you had a timer.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever do that to me in a game where I'm Iron Man. Like, that's not how you do that.
Yeah.
You're stupid.
So yes, that game is not on the top 20 selling games.
Great. Just checking. It's also been just buried on Twitch, man. It, like, barely hits.
No, yeah.
At most, it's hitting like 200 channels at most now. And it's usually in double digits, not triple.
I mean, I wouldn't even say they couldn't have turned it around, but they don't seem to be taking any of the steps that Ubisoft took. I mean, they've kind of figured it out now, but there were times where Ubisoft was doing this with like every game, and possibly still, but they kind of got, what was the Fallout? 47? 76.
Yes.
239.
Fallout, that one.
I hear things about that game. I hear that actually has a base somehow. Like, people are still playing that game.
And apparently they keep updating it and people are getting happier and happier with it.
Maybe that's the trick. Anthem, I just feel like
maybe update it and so people get happy. Yeah, I think you're on the right track.
Yeah, I guess. Take some notes from other games on the top 20 sold list from Valve. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Weedcraft Inc., Pagan Online. Oh, Mortal Kombat 11's on here. There you go.
Pagan Online.
Yeah, it's to just distinguish from just paganism.
Right.
Paganism online.
Well, you want Pagan Offline or Pagan Online. They're different things.
They are. You want
it's like filter.
Although Pagan, I hear offline now supports split screen.
Yes, couch co-op.
Yeah, it's great. Why was that joke funny? Nobody knows. There's people like mad typing in their computer right now. Why was that joke funny?
Was that even a joke?
Yes, no. Was a joke? Was not. Okay, got it.
Tell me more about millions of horses that are dead.
I will tell you about millions of dead horses. Do you know about millions of dead horses?
I do.
Have you looked up any
yeah.
of the, okay, all right. The way this is listed out on our agenda, I'm like, if he doesn't look up what these are actually referring to, he's going to wonder what the hell is going on for this show. Millions of dead horses have been showing up in Red Dead Online. And you can watch the videos, and apparently there's a bit of a slowdown around the millions of... did I mention that they're skinned?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mention that.
They look like they still have their bridles on, though, so that introduces a pathos I'm not quite ready to dive into, but there are piles of dead horses showing up in Red Dead.
When you think about that, like, they had to take them off,
skin
them, and put it back on.
Put it back on.
Like, it just seems like a lot of extra work.
Yeah. No, it's like an episode. I've watched too much Law and Order. We know this, but SVU. I don't know why I went with Sex Crimes Unit, but where they're like, oh, this is, like he did this because he cares. Anybody else wouldn't have put the blanket over the body, but he cares. He put the bridle back on.
That's why he puts the smiley face on the wall.
Oh, that's right. Disclaimer: The Mentalist ended with the capture of Red John.
Yeah, no,
and I'm not sorry. That's not okay. Disclaimer and spoiler. Actually, I'm sorry. Don't watch the series past that episode. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, bad choices.
Past the capture or not capture, who knows what happens?
Oh my!
Watch it.
What 18-year-old show?
I didn't spoil it. There's a pile of dead horses in Red Dead. It's maybe the thing that's got me to want to play Red Dead Online more than anything else so far. If this turns into anything, if this ends up just being a glitch, well, that kind of sucks.
Oh, you just want to go find the pile of dead horses.
Well, yes, but also, what are they going to turn that? Does this turn into like a Undead Nightmare live event? Like, are they going to start doing stuff like that? That sounds kind of interesting.
Like the horses just come back to life and trample everybody around them.
That'd be great too. There are any number of directions they could go with this that would all be satisfying conclusions.
I agree. I hope that there is I hope that they bring in a UFO and Kiflam.
We do want to see Kiflam come back.
I want more Kiflam.
We want more Kiflam. I still have that shirt too.
I know, Zondar.
Other things setting the internet on fire here. Have you seen this new handheld, or will be new handheld whenever it comes out in like 2020 or something, called Playdate?
I did see it, and I hate that name.
It fits because the thing is so dang cute.
It is adorable. I hate it.
I actually first got sent this by a friend who I wouldn't call a gamer. If we had a mobile correspondent, I would offer him the job first.
Sure.
He's more than just kind of a casual phone gamer. Like he's pretty thoughtful about stuff and has recommended some really good things. He sends me this link. He's also a designer up in Santa Barbara, so he's got some good eyeballs. And yeah, everything about it's gorgeous. Like, check out the campaign. The thing itself is just a solid yellow piece of metal that looks awesome. Oh, and has a crank.
It is a crank. I was going to say, you can't forget the crank on it.
Which I think is brilliant, actually. Because think about it, if it didn't have the crank, like, why are you playing this? I have a phone already.
Right.
So I like the little hardware thing about it.
No, it's cool. It looks like a little, like a squat. If a Game Boy were Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
Apt
pupil.
What's John Rhys Davies?
That's right.
The John Rhys Davies of consoles.
John Rhys Davies of Sliders fame. Also, that guy's like huge.
What was he in Sliders? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The Jerry O'Connell vehicle?
Correct.
Well, I would love to see his hands on this thing. That would probably make it look even smaller, actually.
Give it to the guy who played the Mountain.
And who knows? It's a 149. They say it's coming out. I don't think it's actually 2020, is it? I don't think it's actually in this article, is it? Next year. Okay, it is out next year. Oh, that is 2020. Right, 2020 is next year. Fabulous.
We're on top of it.
Yeah, we are.
0 hit points. We understand dates.
It's slightly interesting. It's being put out by Panic, the people who are also putting out Firewatch and the Untitled Goose Game. They're published, so they know their way around games. It's got an interesting software strategy. It comes with 12 games, but then a new one comes out just pushed to the device every week, I think. Yeah, on a weekly basis. So it's got a lot of smart things going for it, I think, that set it apart from everything else on the market. Say, and Ouya, for instance.
Ouya?
Do you have more to say about the Playdate, or can I use that segue?
No, use that segue. It was very good.
The Ouya now is dead.
This is news to me. I thought it was dead a long time ago.
The online services for Razer's Ouya and Forge TV services will shut down at the end of June. Razer announced today, the 22nd, when Polygon published this article. So there you go. Out with the old, in with the new. Trade in your Ouyas for a play date, everybody. And last but not least, take care of yourself, everybody. We actually talked about this a little bit when they considered doing this back in the day, but the World Health Organization has officially adopted a revision to the International Statistical Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems, or the ICD-11.
Oh, good. Okay.
And it includes, for the first time, a gaming disorder, which is considered an addictive behavior disorder. Do you remember when we talked about this?
I do. I had no idea that The Who were involved. I mean, I really like them as a band, but
again, going off my agenda, I was trying to confuse you as much as possible.
It just seems weird that they have information on gaming disorders, but you know.
Yeah, I should have been like, old boss, same as the new boss. The World Health Organization.
See, that would have been perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, just for people who maybe don't understand how this works, classification can help in a number of different ways. That's not saying this has never existed or only now exists. It's just giving some. Also, people might get upset that it is classified, like that's not a real thing type thing. It's all of the above. You know what? Nobody's right or wrong here. It's just saying gaming disorder, gaming addiction can happen. And maybe tellingly, they've taken pretty much the same wording or definition from gambling disorder and just put gaming in where gambling was.
Smart. So, good idea.
It can happen.
Roger Daltrey.
I will say, that's my opinion.
Never underestimate him.
Yeah, never underestimate the human spirit. The human human addictive, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Hey, I got an idea. Nope.
You were going to end the show, weren't you?
I was thinking about it.
That's it. If you got gaming disorder, now you can get it taken care of, everybody.
Hey, man. Hey, you got any of that gaming disorder I'm looking for?
I open up my jacket to reveal no shirt, but gaming disorders in the side pockets.
That's right.
The end, everybody. Thanks for hanging out at 0 hit points.
I don't know,
with 0 hit points. Okay.
They were hanging out here.
You're here. We're there. It's been fun. It will continue to be fun. We'll be back next Tuesday, I would imagine.
Yeah, see you next Tuesday.
Where we talk about more games and more news in the gaming world. Podcast at 0hitpoints.com if you want to talk to us. Also, we're on Twitter and Facebook. Did I miss anything?
You know what's really weird? Yeah, actually, we did kind of miss something. This entire episode, we did not throw in anything that had to do with Thursday Book Club for Movies.
You're right. We didn't accidentally plug the show. In fact, we didn't purposefully plug the show. I almost ended it completely without. We're doing Triple Frontier on Thursday.
That's right. Netflix original with Ben Affleck and other people.
Oscar Isaac, Pedro Pascal.
And the guy from Sons of Anarchy that's kind of like never really good in anything.
Is that the younger? Oh, Charlie Hunnam. No, or Charlie Hunnam. Why do I keep calling him Punnam?
Because you think he's funny.
That must be it. He's a riot in this thing too, let me tell you. Who's the younger dude?
Oh, Garrett Hedlund. I think.
That okay?
Yeah.
He looked familiar, but I couldn't have told you.
You may remember him from the recent film Inside Llewyn Davis. He was the guy driving the car when Llewyn is going to see
you're right.
Abraham. He was also Flynn's kid in Tron 2 Electric Tronaloo.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah.
Did not. Isn't Chris Pine in that somehow?
It's possible, but I don't think so. Garrett Hedlund was the main character in it.
That's fine. Hey, you might be surprised about that show. I think I was, or will be. We haven't recorded it yet.
I can't wait to be surprised, because I don't know if I will be.
Tell me it won't be an interesting discussion.
It might not be.
Okay, we'll Thursday. There you go.
Wait. Oh, well, I was supposed to build that up.